That's your show.
Well, this is your show, but this interview.
This interview is your idea.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, for hanging with Pastor Cooper. Today we're interviewing Tona and Corey. They're missionary friends of ours, and I'll let them tell you a little bit about what they do, and we're excited to hear about their ministry. So with Lewis.
Yep.
So first of all, do you guys remember how we met?
Yeah, we met, the first time we met in person was in Colombia when you came down to visit the country and see what we were doing there on the field.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was just Cooper and I, and we got to just learn about Colombia and your ministry and what it's like to be a missionary. It was awesome.
And get this awesome shirt.
Yeah.
Important things.
And so you did answer that already. Where are you missionaries to?
Medellin, Colombia.
Medellin, Colombia.
And where is that in Colombia, just for all of our kids who might not even know where Colombia is? Where's Colombia and where's Medellin?
Well, Colombia is one of the first countries in South America on the north side. It borders Panama, Venezuela, Brazil, and Ecuador. That helps any. We're having a geography lesson now. In the country, the dead center of the country is the capital of Bogota, and then halfway between Bogota and the Panama border is Medellin.
So our kids should be able to find that on the map pretty easily with that description.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about the culture. What are some things that are different in Colombia, and some interesting things or some major things, whatever you find fun?
Well, we'll start with a little bit about the city, because Medellin is known as the city of eternal spring, and so all year round it's about 75, 80 degrees. There are two seasons, sunny or dry season and rainy season. Although they don't hit like winter and summer here, rainy season just kind of pops in from time to time, and we'll have a few weeks where there's a lot of rain, and then it'll be really dry for a while, and then another cycle of rain. So the nice thing about a culture like that, or a place like that, is that it's easy to be outside all the time. So people are always out and about walking. Culturally, it's a culture of community. And so it's really common to see people just go sit in the park and wait for other people to walk by and talk to their friends and neighbors and meet new people. So that's one of the big cultural differences, I think, as compared to the United States, is that there's just really common to say, hey, let's go walk to the city square and see who's out and about, and just kind of go look for people to interact with. Especially right now when we're all in quarantine.
Yes.
That's a very different concept, but that's one of the biggest differences, that they're very much community focused, which means they're not real big on staying home, being alone, that kind of thing. They like to be out and interactive with society.
That's awesome.
Anything you want to add, Corey, about the culture?
No, I would go. The language is a challenge. They speak Spanish. They're obvious. Well, obvious to me. I don't know if it's obvious to all the kids. Spanish is the main language. So for a foreigner going in with zero Spanish, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
But you pick it up. One of the things Tona was talking about, like the town square, I would walk down to the town square in our city and just watch the people go by and just watch the culture and watch how people just interact. And especially, we were born in the north in Michigan, and it's a little cold, even though it's in the north, it's cold, but the people are also cold. So you might say hi and you don't even, shake hands at times.
Yeah.
But everything is a hug. So coming back to the United States at times, it's a little weird when everybody's not hugging outside of the church. So just the lovingness of the people and the openness of the people to just accept others.
Some of the other cultural things that are really different, food-wise, for them it's really normal to have a big lunch, but something really small for dinner. So I think in the United States, we think like a sandwich for lunch and then a big dinner, and they do the opposite. And then another thing that's a little bit different is that kids go to school. There's 3 different times for school. So some kids go to school from like 6 or 7 in the morning until about noon. And then the next group of kids go from about 1 o'clock until about 5 or 6. And then the last group goes from about 6 o'clock until about 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
So school runs really differently there because rather than building 3 schools, they'll build 1 school and send the kids in 3 different cycle times to go. And I think a lot of places in the States have uniforms, but there everybody has to wear uniforms. So some of those things are a little bit different for kids as they go to school.
So what is it like to be a kid in Colombia?
It's different. I think it's a little different because in the United States, I imagine most of the kids in your church, their family has a car. They probably drive to go to church. They probably ride a bus or drive to go to school. Some may live close enough to walk. In Colombia, the kids usually walk to school no matter where they live. Culture where the kids learn really young how to get to school and back by themselves. And, that's not always right next door and right in the same neighborhood. Sometimes it's a long journey to get there and back. But I think a lot of things are the same. Kids love, TV, they love video games, they love to play. Soccer is huge. Most of them, of all sports, soccer is the #1 sport that they all know, they all play. And so, you'll see kids out in the street playing wherever they can find an open spot, they'll be kicking around the ball.
Well, on top of that, I know you guys raised, I don't remember, how old were you guys as kids when you guys moved to Colombia? Or when you guys started Missionaries there?
They're 6 and 8. Yeah, they were 6.
You guys got to experience a little different idea from coming from a U.S. culture to raising your kids in a Colombian culture.
Yeah, it was different. In some ways, it's strange because Colombia, in the United States, we raise our kids that by about 16, they get their license and they start to be more independent from the family. And it's the opposite. When they're younger, they have more independence, but as they get older, the family depends on each other more. Everyone should contribute. And so there's more unity and more, I mean that in the sense of the kids are home more, when they're late teenagers, and they stay home, they live at home indefinitely until they get married, even sometimes after they get married.
So they don't graduate from high school and then go off to college. They graduate from high school and go to college, but the college doesn't have dorms, so they live at home.
Yeah.
So every day they go to class just like they did in elementary or high school. They go to class as college, and they come home and live with the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that was really hard while we were there, and our kids were getting ready to come back to the States to go to college. People thought we were the worst parents ever because they said, you're gonna let your kids at 18 go to the United States alone and live alone, and for them that was just like, how could you do that?
Yeah. So
some of those things were really different. But in general, it's such a family culture. Families stay together, live close together for their whole lives. And I know like our family in the United States, we have brothers and sisters scattered all over the United States. And so it's just a very different culture. So that was one of the biggest things that was different, that we raised our kids in that family-centered culture. And then at 18, we had to say, okay, you have to go to college now. And so that was kind of a little shock, or a little, that was something very different, where most kids were itching to get out of the house because they were raised in Colombia. Our kids were a little more towards but everybody stays home kind of thing, especially Maggie, I think, of the two. But so that was a big cultural difference.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I know you guys are in the U.S. now, but when you are gone, what do you miss the most about the U.S.?
Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell.
But definitely food's comfort when you're feeling down and missing home.
Mm-hmm.
Food is that comfort, but yeah, you push on, and you'd end up developing a bigger family by embracing the culture you're in.
Yeah.
Everybody just loves on the Missionaries, and we find ourselves invited to a lot of houses. So our Colombian family is pretty big.
All right, so we know how you guys, it's part of your mission model, but how do you guys share Jesus with kids in Colombia? So, here in the U.S., the kids know they come to church on Sunday and we do some outreaches for them, but is that the same way, or how do you guys reach out to kids to share the gospel with them?
Well, in some aspects we do. Tona does a lot of teaching of teachers. So she is a children's pastor's coach. She teaches children's pastors on how to reach their communities. But we also work in, like your shirt says, Comuna 13. That's a community 13 that we go into the streets where there is no church. So we just love on the kids. We play games with the kids, and then in that openness, once the kids are open to playing with us, to loving on us, then their ears are open also for us to share about Christ.
Mm-hmm. Right. And how can we pray for you guys in your ministry?
Well, right now, I think, the way our mission cycle works is that we work in Colombia for 4 to 5 years, and then we come back to the States for 1 year to raise our funds to go back. Well, of course, we came back just in time for everyone to be locked in their houses. So one of our prayers is just that God will provide what we need so we can get back to Colombia.
Yeah.
But also prayer for Colombia, because they're also on lockdown right now, and a lot of the kids that we work with, a lot of the families are really suffering right now. They're very hungry, and they don't have the same kind of support we have here in the U.S. to get food and things like that. We've been able to send teams with groceries to a lot of the families, but they definitely need prayer for provision, for basic things, just food to get through the week and feed the kids.
Well, we talk about what you guys miss from, what you miss when you're in Colombia, but what is your favorite food while you're in Colombia, or snack? What is your favorite thing that's different from here?
Well, the typical plate in Medellin is the bandeja paisa, which is this giant plate that has beans and rice and ground beef and egg and this giant bacon type thing. I don't know what that comparison is in the English.
I think it's like a fatback.
Yeah, the thick chunk of, not bacon, but yes, yeah.
And plantain, and that whole plate is just that is the typical plate. And I can never do the whole.
It's not like it's a little plate, it's like a big plate.
It's a giant thing. I could never make it through, but I love it.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best, and with that you can also get a piece of steak with it, or a piece of chicken with it. The food never ends.
Well,
I think the thing I love most are plantains in general. They make them a whole bunch of different ways, and I love every way they make them.
Yeah.
And I know my brother missed, or I really enjoyed the hot dogs when we were in Colombia. They had a pineapple sauce and crushed chips on them that were really good. Again, just so much more variety than here.
Yeah.
I was so scared the first time we saw one of the hot dogs, and it had just layers of sauces and random things, and I thought, I am not eating that. And then I took a bite, and I was like, that is amazing.
Awesome. Well, I got one more question for you. Miranda has one, and then we'll go there. So, how has BGMC helped you guys as missionaries, or has it helped you guys?
Yeah. BGMC buys some literature that we take into the kids, and buys some art supplies and stuff like that when we go into the places like Muna Teresa where it's very difficult and they never see some of these supplies. We'll do coloring books, and when we did, what was the program? Some of the kids have heard of Samaritan's Purse.
Okay.
That's also been a tool, but mixing all this together has supplied the needs of where we go, and gotten a sound system,
Okay.
so allows us to do different things.
Yeah.
Awesome. Because that's one way that our kids every month they bring their barrels with change for BGMC. So I know they love to hear what that actually does when they bring those.
Yeah. I have all the stories. Oh, sorry. What was that?
I was just gonna say, we really appreciate it, and we tell the kids in Colombia about how the kids in the United States have helped bring in the things that they're using. So it's always so cool to be able to say, do you know that kids in the United States use their money so that you can have colored pencils to do this project? And they think that's amazing, and it inspires them to start thinking about how they can impact the rest of the world. So it's so cool that the kids are giving to BGMC, because we use them as an example to the Colombian children to see people love you from all the way in other parts of the world. People love you and love God enough to send so that you can learn more about God, and that should inspire you to be able, or to want to give more to others as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks. It's great to hear it straight from your mouth, because I only have so many stories I can tell, and there's only so many BGMC stories I can share, because I've been a part of so many, only know so many. So when we get information live from the missionaries, straight from the boots on the ground, I think it speaks a lot to our kids and to our families. And that's one of the things we really like about this, is that not only are we talking to the kids on Sunday morning, but our parents will be watching this, and we'll be able to build a little more awareness as a whole family unit in the midst of this as well.
Our last question is, how can kids be a part of missions now?
Well, first of all, they can pray. That is the biggest, most powerful thing they can do, because wherever they are in the world, they can stop and pray for missionaries. And sometimes they don't even realize that, if they stop and say, "Ooh, I just thought of the missionaries in Colombia. Maybe I should pray for them." A lot of times that's the Holy Spirit just touching their hearts to say, "Hey, something's going on and we need support. We need somebody to be praying for us." And so that is so powerful, the most powerful tool that the kids have. But then the other way is, I would think there's two more ways. One is to give to BGMC, because even if they feel like, well, I only have a penny or I only have a nickel, all of that adds up together. And I don't remember the exact number, but last year it was over $8 million that was given to BGMC. So you may feel like, oh, it's just a penny or it's just a nickel, but all those pennies and nickels together can make a huge impact around the world. And then the third way I would say is just investigate. If you're interested in a country or something comes to mind, go and find out, like, what are the missionaries doing there? What are the needs there? And that will help you pray for God to meet those needs, or to send more people, or maybe even prepare you, or prepare a child to think that one day God's going to use me in that country. So learn about the people, because every country is so different. Even like you said about the tacos, people think, well, all the Spanish speaking countries must be the same, but everyone is so very different. And so learning about other cultures can be really fun and a great way to learn more about missions.
Talking to God about other countries and talking of what God can do with each. So many missionaries have told us that they felt the call to missions at the age of around 8, 6, 10. So God calls the children's church to be missionaries.
Well, thank you so much. I think our kids are really going to enjoy hearing about Colombia and what you all are doing, and we'll definitely all be praying for you and your ministry.
Thank you so much.